and it seems to work, so we'll go with it. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to class number 83 of the Millionaire Mentorship Series. And today's class is really got my attention. You know, as I share with you often, each class that we do is really a reflection. Each class that we do is a reflection of what's going on in my mind. I think that's the way I can be the best teacher. You know, it's best to teach what you're going through and what you're growing through. And so this class number 83 has an interesting topic, and the topic is using imagination and fascination to get what you want in life. I'll say it again: using imagination and fascination to get what you want in life. And a lot of the things that we cover in the class are based on material in our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And after we do the recordings, we archive the videos on our YouTube channel, www.herbertharris.com. That's www.herbertharris.com. And so with our YouTube channel there, I think you can go back and revisit the videos and get the information all over again and watch it as many times as you like. So now, you know, as we progress on our success journeys, we find that we get to a point where we really need more powerful tools. You know, we need other things to take us beyond where we are. You know, many of us get stuck sometimes, and sometimes we may not even be stuck. We just may be going around in circles. And so this power of imagination and fascination takes our success journey to an entirely different level. And what I say is this: in other words, when we start moving up that success ladder, we have to go from linear thinking to non-linear thinking. And so what's the difference? Linear thinking is bound by appearances and you might say the senses. Okay? Non-linear thinking is not bound by the senses, it's not bound by reality, it's not bound by anything. It is a connection to infinite knowledge. And so when we start thinking of imagination is really the power to form mental images in our minds. And so what it does, we have the power to form mental images of things that are not present. And so imagination helps us become unbound by the senses. You know, Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the whole world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Your imagination is really the connecting link between your human consciousness and the universal consciousness. It's almost your plug into a power source. And through your imagination, the formless energy in the universe forms and becomes your life experience. You know, your power to see beyond the appearances of your present situation to the possibilities of who you are and what you're about and what you can become, that is really the foundation for, you might say, success growth. That's the foundation for success in every way, in your business, in your life. To be able to see beyond that which is to that which can be. To see beyond what you are to what you can become. How do we tap that? And that's another class on itself, but the way that you really begin to tap into your powers of imagination is to really bring yourself to a rest state, an alpha state, and then create those visual images in your mind of each and every aspect of your vision. Once your mind is open and receptive to all beneficial ideas, then you can virtually relax, let go, and command the universal mind to reveal each and every good idea that will implement your vision. That puts you on the path. You know, it is said that anything your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Anything your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So if this is the power of imagination, then what is fascination? Now, fascination is like imagination on steroids. In other words, fascination is an intense interest or enchantment with an idea, person, or thing. In other words, fascination is like focused imagination. If you can see the vision in your mind, fascination is where you give it the power to manifest. Fascination, you know, it is said, where your attention grows, power flows. And so, once you've imagined it, fascination is looking at the objectives of the things that you imagine and want to happen, and then giving them that desire, that energy, and it is that energy, that fascination with it, that attention that you pay to it, that makes it happen. You know, whatever the object of your imagination is, or whatever the object of your fascination, it will magnetize you and attract into your life experience that which you are seeking. There's a story of a great king who had a son who was, he had I guess we'd call it a hunchback. And all of the wise men could not seem to cure the son of this hunchback condition. And so the king erected a statue in the garden that looked exactly like the young man, except it was not hunchback. The statue stood erect and tall. And as the young man played in the garden, he looked at that statue each and every day. He became fascinated with that statue. And almost unconsciously, as the young man began to grow up, slowly and without him even being aware of it, he began to stand tall. He began to stand erect, and he became the exact image of that statue. One of my good friends, when we talk about network marketing, one of my good friends, Larry Barnett, was a young man who played basketball with the Baltimore Bullets, and he enrolled me in another company that really changed our lives. And Larry was about 6'9", and he was, as he said, last of the wide body centers. And he said how as a young man he had been almost crippled and could not walk. And there was a large man who worked, his father owned a dairy farm, and there was a large guy who worked there who was 6'9". And this young man used to carry him around the farm. And Larry looked at him every day. And guess what? Larry straightened up and he grew to be, guess what height? 6'9" tall. And so this power of fascination, this power of fascination that whatever, you know, we are fascinated with, we become, gives us an awesome ability now, because whatever you're fascinated with, whatever you focus your attention on, and see, fascination is an emotional thing. You become emotionally attached to it. That whatever it is you're fascinated with, you begin to attract into your life experience. In other words, you become that which you direct your attention to every day. Where your attention goes, power flows. Now, this power can be used positively and negatively. You know, there's some people that are fascinated with illness, and all they talk about is illness. I know in our business, we bring people a great a product that can change their lives, that may help their healthy condition, and lo and behold, they reject it. They become so focused on being ill that they can't become well. Even failure, past hurts. When we focus on past hurts, it becomes a prison that keeps us from seeing beyond. And so some people get fascinated with past hurts. They keep reliving it. And what does that mean? They keep giving it their psychic, their emotional energy, and they relive that pain and time again. And every time they meet someone, every time they interact, that pain is right there and you can feel it. Some people get fascinated on past failures. Your family and friends and those who are close to you, who often have a great propensity to remind you of all of the things that you did not do right, all of the times you tried to fly and you crashed and burned. Sometimes if you pay attention to them, you become fascinated with past failures and you lose your ability to fly. So fascination can be used positively, though. And for those on this line today, I want us to really think about this power of fascination, because fascination, like imagination, is not bound by present situations, is not bound by reality. And so when you become fascinated, you get into the feeling of that which you're seeking. Those of you who want to rise to the top levels in our company, or in any company, whether you're a diamond or a national marketing director or a Pro 10, those who want to rise to the top of the ranks, to be the very best in their area, must become fascinated with each and every aspect of that. There's a story of a young man who wanted to become a doctor, and when he was fascinated with becoming a doctor, and he got a job working in the doctor's office, not as a medical, but just cleaning up and being friendly and straightening up the furniture in the waiting room. And then eventually he began to go to night school, and he was fascinated with becoming a doctor, and eventually, after a period of time, he became one of the greatest doctors that ever lived. And so when I say you get fascinated by it, it's not just a mental thing, but it's a totally emotional thing of being in the moment, being in it. There's a thought that as we begin to create the world that we want to live in, we have to live in the dream. In other words, when we project, when we visualize, when we see that which we want to be, do, and have, we have to see it from being there as opposed to seeing it from where we are. That is, in the spiritual book, it talks about the people possessing the land, and he said, go out and walk out the land, walk the width and breadth of the land, and you will possess it. And that is what happens with us. That which we're seeking, if we can keep our focus and our fascination on that which we're seeking, that which we want to become, and if we can see it in each and every aspect, when we complete this, I recommend that you sit down and write that vision again of who you want to be, the person you want to become, the things you want to have, the interaction you want to experience with the world, the places you want to go. And when you begin to see them and feel them as though you are already there, it cannot fail to come. The imagination activity, the activity of fascination, is really the idea of living in the feeling of the desire fulfilled. When we live in the feeling of that which we are seeking, all the forces in the universe work to attract into our space the things, the people, the events that we need to have. We live life from within out. If we want to predict the future, then create the future. And you create the future by being fascinated with that which you're seeking. And so, folks, when we think about moving our lives to that next level, we have to go back and apply higher order tools of imagination, tools of fascination. tools of collective reality. You know, we need a team, for example. That idea that when two or more gathered on one accord, I am among them, the making power. And so as we begin to execute our power of fascination, we'll find that when we are clear about where we're going and what we have to do and that which we want to become, that we become magnetic and we attract other people into our space, like-minded and like-feeling, and we literally create a psychic bond between us that multiplies and magnifies our personal powers. You know, when we come together, one of the great, you might say, aspects of network marketing is the fact that when you can choose the people you want to be with, and you choose people who have a similar vision, who have similar feelings about success, who have a similar commitment to get it done. And when you work with people like that around you, it multiplies your own abilities. You become more powerful to attract into your space that which you need, that which you're seeking. Many of us see it when we work together as a group. Sometimes, you know, we may have call nights or meetings where we come together and execute activities. There may be calling, there may be goal setting. And something happens when you come together in that group and you have that focused energy, that fascination with what you want to do, be, and have, and then you put it in a group context and it multiplies and magnifies. As I said, it works positively and negatively. And how do you know whether you are using your fascination positively or negatively? Well, one thing, what do you seek in your natural state? You know, when you pass by an accident, there are many people that will pull over, they say rubbernecking. They want to see the blood and the gore. There are folks who want to go to all the horror movies and just love to read the obituaries and hear all the negative news. Well, wherever your power flows, whatever you give your attention to, your power goes there. And so if you find yourself focusing on negative things, loss, lack, limitation, your power goes into that and will create that in your life experience. So folks, let us be careful about that which we give our attention to. You know, you can pass by the accident, the same accident, and you can say, oh, I know the people are safe. You know, I know that no one was hurt, and keep going. You can pass by those movies and, oh, I don't want to see that negative stuff. Whatever you protect from your attention, negative things, then you give your mind and your space power to focus on positive things. You know, it's always said, never watch one of those horror movies before you go to bed because you'll dream about it. In other words, it's impressed upon your subconscious mind. So just as it does before you go to sleep, it does that when you're awake too and has that negative effect. So folks, be fascinated with the positive. Be fascinated with that which you're seeking. Some people get so fascinated with that which they're seeking, they can't see any of the obstacles in the way. Be fascinated with the power, the universal power that is within you to achieve the good that you want to achieve. Be fascinated with the desire to be a healthy person, to think good health, to act good health, to just radiate good health. Become intensely fascinated with success and successful people. You know, Napoleon Hill was able to write Think and Grow Rich by being around, by observing, and by interviewing and communicating with successful people. He could not have written that book from afar. He had to be in it. As they say, you have to be in it to win it. He had to be in it to be able to capture those ideas and those feelings. And for those of you who have not yet decided what you want in life, what you want to have, think of the good. You know, my son once asked me, Dad, how do you determine what you want to do in life? And I said, well, Sean, determine what you really love doing and then figure out a way to get paid for doing it. And to our listeners, to those on the call today, if you're not quite sure about what you're fascinated with, then start to think of the good that you can become. Start to think of your life as a seed, a great talent that's planted in the universe to grow. And you can grow into flowers, or you can grow into weeds. Think of growing into flowers. Surround yourself with positive people. If you're not clear about where you're going, then surround yourself with people who've accomplished things. Make success a main agenda in your thinking. Be around successful people. Go to successful events. Go to seminars. Read books. In other words, get totally in the feeling of that which you're seeking, and the path will become clear to you. When a man is fascinated with success, he will become a success. Be fascinated with that which you're seeking. Get fascinating that being the good you want to be. In other words, I think most of us see ourselves as good people, see ourselves as having a positive impact on the world, see ourselves as helping others, see ourselves as molding the universe, the world, to be just a little better tomorrow than it was today. When we begin to see ourselves in that light, we will become that, and it will happen. See ourselves that in the things we want to possess. You know, as we said, get into the feeling of it. Those who know me closely know that I'm a car person. Okay? And every car I've ever seen in my mind, when you come into my office, you'll see pictures of those cars and little write-ups about those cars and facts about those cars. And I look at them in each and every aspect, and every car I've ever wanted has come to me. It can happen for you. Same thing. See it, feel it, and be it. So we'll close with this, folks. Get fascinated with being the good you want to be, with doing the good you want to do, and with having the good you want to have. And your power of fascination will magnetize that good for you and pull it into your life experience. This is a power law of the universe. Put it to work for you. And so it is. All right, let me open the lines.